Hello, I'm Donald Fleggett, and welcome to this latest London South East CEO interview. I'm joined today by Michael Rowan, CEO of London-listed Active Energy Group, the international biomass-based renewable energy and forestry management business. AEG has raised £7 million in a placing priced at 1p per share, which means 700 million new shares will be issued. In addition, it made the raise available to retail investors through primary bid. And thirdly, it has restructured £17.7 million worth of convertible loan notes. Welcome, Michael. Thank you for joining us. It must have been an extraordinary few days and weeks for you and the team.
Morning, Donald. Yes, it has actually been a very extraordinary few weeks, but I'm very pleased that we've ended up with the result we have, which is a great combination of a completion of an equity raise, which encapsulates the retail holders, and at the same time, a complete renegotiation of our secured indebtedness. So it's a very exciting moment for the company.
So very briefly for the uninitiated, why don't you tell us what AEG do and then give us your take on the share placing? You were hoping to raise 6 million. So how did the Allenby Capital book build go?
Well, thank you, Don. So in terms of what Active Energy does, we're involved in the production of next generation biomass fuels. That involves the building or manufacture of new pellets, which are able to do a number of key assets. Number one, we focus on using waste feedstock resources as our prime feedstock. So what I mean by that is using waste wood, using the tree, the branches, the tops of trees, roots, but also looking at other complementary fuels such as chicken litter and other waste biomass fuels as a core for the use to produce the pellets. In addition to which, what we then do is produce through our manufacturing process a better quality pellet. And that is the pellet that we're now getting into final stages of production and commercialization to deliver to customers initially in North America, but hopefully also internationally. We've obviously over the last 2 years built a base at Lumberton, which has been a really critical element of our strategy over the last 2 years. That has meant that we've got an established manufacturing base, an established network on the East Coast of the US, where we're able to not only produce the fuels using local suppliers and local partners, but then quickly distribute the fuels through the network around the world. And that's the exciting thing which AEG represents into the near future. In terms of the book build, Donald, you asked me the question. We went out to raise 6 million. I would say Allenby did a great job. We got the support of some very key institutional shareholders, some of our current holders, as well as new holders. And the book was very successfully completed in a very short period of time.
And the primary bid placing, you didn't have to do this. So why did you want to have retail investors on board? Because they're not always the kindest to you, I've seen.
I think that's probably a fair comment, but despite all of the past, I think we do have a very important retail base on our register. I'm very keen to support that and encourage it. And the prime reason for primary bid being involved was that it was a very simple way to integrate us into the overall book build process. We thought it was a very novel and original process, and we liked the opportunity of opening up the book build to them. Primary bid did an absolute material contribution to the eventual book. And as you know, we closed out at over £7 million in the end for the final offer. And I am very grateful to all those participants that came through.
So how much of that was down to primary bid?
It was, we eventually got a book done towards 7 million in the end.
And that said, primary bid doesn't actually, the way that system works, it doesn't actually give retail investors much time to participate. What's that all about?
Well, they operate marrying into an accelerated book build process, which is an established market run. We were familiar with that and understood that. I know it's unfortunate, it's a short time period, but I was more concerned that at least the retail had an opportunity to participate.
The book build has to be done in a very, very concise time frame.
That's right. And we'd already effectively been working hard with the institutions at the same time. And at least on this route, you give the chance for the retail to participate in the same instant.
Okay, and let's move on to none of the fundamentally important things you've just achieved. You've restructured 17.7 million of corporate loan notes, which is a form of bond, if I understand it. It's held over the assets of the company. It's a pretty big deal, and you've sorted all that out. So what was the outcome there?
Well, the outcome there was very significant because what it means as a headline is that we've extinguished the indebtedness. of the company. The existing bond was 4 years old. It was going into its last year, so it was going to approach maturity fairly quickly. But because the company had reached a significant crossroads strategically, in the sense that we need to grow and we need to develop, obviously, our business in a proper form, we knew we had to address this indebtedness. Obviously, we had the support of the major bondholders within the bond, who were actually prepared to come and convert and come through to the company and support the company into the future, which was the positive element of it. And I've been very pleased to say that from the initial traction of the major bondholders coming through, we've got all the underlying bondholders to also support the offer. So when we announced last night, we got over 95% of all bondholders agreeing to convert across to equity. What the important element of this is, we did have a secured debenture for the company, and all of that is now released. So the key and exciting element is now I have no indebtedness to the company and no future security structures affecting the balance sheet.
Which feels like a really big step into the next phase of your corporate life, Michael. And so the management team has been reshuffled to reflect those new priorities, I'm assuming?
The management team has been reshuffled, but only a small amount. James has already been on the board for over a year, so him moving to non-exec chair is really a natural evolution. Antonio is going to move to more day-to-day activity, looking at the CoalSwitch plant that we have obviously set up in Lumberton. And I do see that we've got additional personnel who are going to join the organisation in the short order, which will be a very exciting development for the management as a whole.
So it's a pivotal moment, really, as you're about to begin to commission and construct what you call the first sizable reference plant for your CoalSwitch product in Lumberton, North Carolina. So tell us more about Lumberton, North Carolina. How much will that cost to build? Over what timescale?
Well, I mean, Lumberton, as I mentioned earlier, Lumberton is obviously our integral base now. It's about 70 miles from Wilmington in the heart of North Carolina. It's in the heart of forestry territory. And it's been absolutely the right location for us over the last 2 years to develop initially the lumber business, but ultimately this next generation of fuels. The reference plant is going to cost circa about $4 million. So that is broadly already ready and financed and completed. And in fact, if you look at our tweets from the last 10 days, you will see that kit has been arriving on site there from within the United States over the last 2 weeks. The construction crews start this week, and they're moving with a vengeance to get this construction up and running. And we're looking at commissioning early into Q2. The time is of the essence there, because I think, as people are aware, we have our first customer, and Pacific Core are very keen to get the fuel delivered to them as quickly as possible. They've identified a burn date, and we need to work in their schedules. So I'm very keen to get the plant up and running. Now, Lumberton will represent ultimately the nucleus for our operation. I've said, and we've announced previously, that we're looking to develop the 50-ton-an-hour production facility over the next 18 months to 2 years. So we will very quickly move on from the first reference plant, which will produce fuel and deliver small quantities, into the bigger scale plant. And that's the exciting opportunity that I think is going to come for the company over the next 18 months.
And how does the biomass coal replacement product work? And so two questions, really. One, how does it work? And two, a statement. Not having to reconfigure the original coal plant gives you a big commercial advantage. Discuss those two thoughts.
Well, you're absolutely right. The opportunity for us to create a fuel that you can co-fire in the existing coal industry is vital. In America today, 24% of all their electricity comes from burning coal. So as they now look, as they're focused towards renewable fuels, they need to focus on an evolution process. And we're an integral part of that evolution process. Now, I don't want to go into the minutiae of how the fuel burns per se, but let me just give you some basic headlines. CoalSwitch is a black pellet. It's a next generation pellet that uses the waste and creates a heat value that's equivalent to coal. Because it also has the same mineral values of coal, it means two things. It means you can co-fire it with coal straight away. So that's one of the exciting elements you can do. And it means that you're able to ensure that there are limited or no emissions from our fuel. So it suddenly means that a coal-fired power station is cutting its emissions. And that's the exciting element of it. Now, as you may have seen last week, President Biden did talk about re-signing onto the Paris Accord. And that is a very instant element where we're able to give some more immediate solutions and answers. And that's where I'm very excited about what we can achieve in just North America alone.
You can provide quick wins.
Quick wins will be part of the answer, but more importantly, also a medium-term win, because if we can be a better use of a better pellet, we're also satisfying the existing biomass industry, which, don't forget, is a not insignificant industry. Right now, you've got over 30 million tons of biomass being shipped around the world, both to Europe, to the UK, to Southeast Asia, and increasingly just to North America.
So you provide a local solution to the biomass problem?
We can provide a local solution. And for those investors that look at Google Maps, you will see the fact that we actually have a biomass station next door to us.
And finally, what kind of news flow can we expect from Active Energy Group over the next few months?
Well, the news flow, I think, is going to be very exciting. Clearly, the plant getting in construction, the first delivery of fuel to our first customer is the obvious and immediate targets that we have. I'm very encouraged to say I do believe that we will see additional orders for fuel over the next coming months. And I think we may see additional licensing opportunities emerging. And at the same time, don't forget, we've got an undying lumber business running in Lumberton, which I also see will get future developments, because we're seeing also a lot of interest from people from the timber industry who are also coming forward asking questions about how we can help them as much as we can help the utility industry. So the prospects look very exciting for the company.
That was Michael Rowan, a CEO at Active Energy Group, certainly one of the stock market stories of the week. Thank you for coming and sharing that with us. We're very grateful. If you're an AEG investor, don't forget to check out the AEG Company Bulletin Board on lse.co.uk, or do follow us on Twitter at London Southeast. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel. And finally, thank you for watching and stay safe.